when those fitness influencers, talk about social media influencers, fitness influencers doing trend and doing, 500 mgs of test as a base, and they do some D-ball or some trembolone or whatever,
right,
or some Anavar for that matter.
Yeah.
And then they get jacked and they're shredded because they took their clenbuterol or whatever.
Right.
And then they turn around and sell a workout program or a supplement, and these 17, 18, 19-year-old kids think, oh, okay.
If I take this,
it's
I'll have me hooked up. Yeah.
And it's like, no, you will never look like Chris Bumstead.
Right.
You won't. You will never look like Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime.
Right.
Like, you will never look like Ronnie Coleman. You'll never look like Jay Cutler.
Right.
Like, those are top tier, like.
And they always on that shit, bro. Like, they always on the juice, bro. Like,
ever.
Yeah, they always on that juice, man.
And I'm going to tell you, Ronnie didn't start doing gear until he turned 30.
Yeah, well, because your testosterone declines.
Well, see, it's wild because he was competing and winning.
Yeah.
And then he just took it to a next level. When he turned 30 and started doing gear, like he said it, he was like, man, he was like, it was basic stuff.
Yeah.
Would you ever do?
I couldn't. Like, I've actually had the opportunity because I had somebody offer it to me. I was in England. One of my boys.
What they offer you?
He some gear.
Like what?
He had not Dynaball, but it was Dynaball.
Okay.
Debo.
Debo.
Sorry, Dynaball. And he was like, yeah, man. He was like, I'm about to. So I looked on Facebook the other day, and he's huge now. And this dude used to be super skinny, like super small. He is fucking jacked. And I'm like, I'm not taking that shit, bro. And my thing was more so because obviously, I'm a huge WWE fan, I'm a huge wrestling fan. And back in the prime, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, especially with Vince McMahon, like, you had a good physique, then he's gonna utilize you more.
Yeah.
That's what he wants, right? But at the alarming rate, your Eddie Guerreros, your Chris Benoit, different wrestlers having heart attacks.
And bodybuilders.
And bodybuilders, having heart attacks.
Dying in their 40s, yeah.
From using that shit. I'm not trying to go out like that, bro. Like, so I'm cool. I was like, I'm not doing that. I did think about it one time, like, man, I want to be like yoked up. And I was like, but at what cost? Because it's not permanent.
No, I thought about it, and I'm still giving somewhat consideration to it. It's hard for me to wrap my brain around it because I had a father pass away from a heart issue.
Right.
So, like, anything heart related, I stopped taking pre-workout right after he died.
Right.
It was like, I don't want nothing that's going fat burners, none of that. I don't want nothing that has to do with that. But I've thought about it. Chris Bumstead had a video where he talked about, like, before you even think about doing gear, just think.
Yeah.
Are you going to get on stage? He's like, why are you doing it? Is it for the look? Are you going to get on stage? He said, okay. Now, if you're going to get on stage, are you going to try to be Mr. Olympia?
Right.
He was like, are you going to step on stage and beat me? Probably not.
Right.
He said, so don't do that.
Right.
You don't have to do that. Like I said, I've thought about it. You don't even have to start, and I'm not encouraging anybody to do this.
Yeah, we're not encouraging nobody to use roids.
But if you want to start with 500 mgs of test as a base, and then after that, you just move forward.
So test is different, though.
Well, see, a lot of guys take the test. They take the test as a base, and then they'll do.
Yeah, and then they do the.
But then some guys. Let me say this right way.
Oh, and I don't like shots either. You know that. I hate fucking needles, bro.
Let me tell you. And every time I tell people I'm funny about needles.
Oh, but you got tattoos.
That's the same thing they say.
We both sitting there sleeping up.
You got tats. Yeah, it's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing.
It's not. But what I'll say is this, as far as steroids go. I've seen 17, 18, 19-year-old kids, like, in the gym. Like, this one kid asked me, he was like, man, how do I get big like you? And I said, you eat a lot of carbs and train as heavy as you possibly can over the course of several years, and you'll get there. He's like, well, what if I want to get there sooner? And I said, your frontal lobe is not even fully developed. You don't need to be taking steroids. because
they go crazy. No. Like, talk about Chris Benoit.
And I'm just like, you can't. And here's the other problematic thing is guys think, oh, I'm just going to do trend. And it's like, one, you need test as a base and then trend if you're going to do it. But don't do trend, first of all. But, do test as a base and then just see where you're at.
Right.
Because you might not need steroids. A lot of guys think they need steroids. No, you don't. Matter of fact, no one needs it.
Nah.
Like, unless for medical purposes.
Right.
But, like, I'm not going to lie. I've done PEDs before. I've never done steroids.
Right.
I've done SARMs before.
I mean, I've done antler. I've done a deer antler and shit before they outlawed the shit.
So that's not the same as IGF.
The deer antler is not the same as IGF-1.
Okay.
But a deer antler is a PED.
Okay.
Like that shit, like and how it is like it's drops. And you drop the shit like under your tongue. But what it does is, and I'll tell anybody this, and this is before like they made it like, because in the Air Force, like we were able to take it. And then like they like, nope, don't use that shit no more or whatever. Because professional athletes were using that shit. And then you have like, your strength is like ungodly, bro. Yeah. Like your strength is crazy. Like you go from being like, I go from being able to, I don't know, I could push, let's say 225 off the deer antler. I'm throwing 335 easily.
You know,
like that shit's crazy. That deer antler wasn't no joke.
When you see the difference, and I'm gonna look off camera. Marcus is not on camera. Marcus, when you were filming me in the gym that time, I think about a week later, I started my cycle of Rad 140, Testolone. I think I did Cardarine at the same time.
Yeah.
And the weight that I was getting up there, I felt like a superhuman. Like, and that was just SARMs.
Yeah.
And it made me think, man, what if I got on gear? Like, I'd be a madman.
Oh yeah, if I get on gear, I'd go nuts. Nah, I completely.
But then it's like, is it worth it?
Nah.
And then I did a cycle of clean for like, I say a week, and then the bottle broke open in my bag, and I took it as a sign.
Yeah,
because like I had a Ziploc bag with the clean in it.
Right.
Like I had the
but you got to shoot that. You got to inject it.
No, it's a drops.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, the drop. Okay.
And I was like, and I felt it, like, because I can't remember how exactly, but Clinton was developed as something else, and then meatheads figured out, oh, it will speed up your heart rate and you'll lose a lot of weight. And it's for when you're at 5% body fat and you're trying to get to 3,
right?
You can't lose no more weight. But I did that and was like, nah, I didn't like the way it made me feel. Like it wasn't worth it. Like it was problematic. Rigged is an interesting word because I feel like there are a lot of variables that have to go into like getting the outcome that you want. But
it's not hard in football.
No, hell no.
It's not hard in basketball.
Nah. That's why point shaving is such
a... Ask Pete Rose. It's sure as fuck not hard in baseball.
Oh, man. When you can...
Which he should be in the Hall of Fame, by the way. But that's for the next... We'll talk about that next podcast. But
I wish Pete Rose would have just said, all right, you got me.
Yeah.
I bet on baseball. I shouldn't have done
it. Man, that motherfucker pulled a Alec Murdoch. He pulled Alec Murdoch. Right. He lauded it out, that shit. Pete was denying the fuck out that shit,
He was
bro.
denying it, like staring you in your face.
Telling you. That was Murdoch did, man.
I'm offended you would think this.
Yeah.
And then finally that man said, okay, here's an opportunity for a bag. Let me write this book and say that I did it.
And he threw the shit in the book. Yeah.
Like, but it's almost like how I feel about steroids in baseball.
Right.
I can't act like I wasn't enjoying the long ball
Barry Bonds.
in 98.
Yeah.
But in fairness, there are certain people that I think should go in, but you should have a caveat. Yeah, you're in the Hall of Fame, but you get that asterisk by your name.
Right.
That's not an asterisk like in a bad way. It takes away from your ability because Barry Bonds had 2 Hall of Fame careers.
Of course,
before Juice and after.
Right.
But you just say during the steroid era. I feel like Rich Eisen was the one who proposed that idea. It might have been Keith Olbermann.
Right.
But because it's not fair for you to look at Barry Bonds the same way you look at Ken Griffey Jr. It's not.
You can't because, like, I mean, the performance was different.
Like, and Ken Griffey Jr.'s physical body never changed.
Right.
Like, he's always tested
Barry Bonds
clean.
turned into a monster.
Man,
oh, my God, bro. Then Mark McGwire get hemmed up, too. They clapped him.
He was talking in front of Congress, right?
Yeah, they got Mark McGwire for using PEDs and shit.
Just be like, hey, man, who was that who did it? Was it Rafael Palmeiro? And was like,
Palmeiro, yeah.
I never did steroids ever. And then like the next day, they got his ass.
Yeah.
It was like, bro, just say you did it. But it's easy for me to say that because I'm on the outside looking in.